Hello, good evening, and it's 10 p.m. in Accra, midnight in Johannesburg, South Africa, and 7 a.m. Thursday in Pyeongchang in South Korea. Wherever you're watching us from, this is News at 10. We're live on TV3 and also on radio, 3FM 92.7. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll bring you the very latest from across the country and beyond. But let's first settle for the major highlights of the day. Representatives of the 14 Togo opposition parties say they're yet to see the commitment of the ruling party a month after a roadmap to suspend protests was agreed in Lomé. Our reporter Komla Kluche says the representatives expressed their firm resolve to oust Faure Gnassingbé just before going into mediation talks with President Akufo-Addo. And the Director General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Emmanuel Kofinti, warns companies who have defaulted in their tax compliance to take advantage of the Tax Amnesty Act and regularize their tax affairs. The tax amnesty is available from now till September 30, 2018. And the minority side in Parliament has written to the Governor of the Bank of Ghana and the Finance Minister requesting for information on some technical details relating to Capital and UT Bank's takeover by GCB. GCB Bank took over the two banks in 2017 with the permission of the Bank of Ghana because they were unable to increase the capital requirement needed for their operations. And anti-graft campaigners, the Ghana Integrity Initiative is expressing concern over failure of the Ghana 60 Committee to render accounts 1 year after organizing Ghana's Diamond Jubilee celebration. Executive Director Lindo Forikwafu says government must ensure the Commission immediately renders account or civil society will be compelled to wage an intense campaign to get the committee to account for every cedi it received from the public. Those are major news highlights. Remember, you can hear us live on 3FM 92.7, and we're also streaming live on Facebook and on 3news.com. Up next is a big one. Welcome back. Now, hundreds of people besieged the streets of the Volta regional capital whole Wednesday, protesting against plans to carve out a new OT region. The mainly youthful protesters are arguing that the purpose of the creation of the region is flawed. It is believed that the creation of regions accelerates development because it brings along hospitals, schools, financial institutions, and a number of public sector institutions. The extension of government bureaucracy into the region throws up the opportunity for improved urbanization. But the group calling itself Asogli Youth, together with another group, Volta Youth, contend the key to development is decentralization, not division. So let's quickly, we have Simon Kofi Ohene, leader of the group, joining us on the telephone lines. Good evening, Simon, and thank you very much for joining us. So I want to have a fair understanding of exactly what you want.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to communicate with you this evening. And I say good evening to all viewers. Yes, we are pretty sure that it is not the division or the creation of regions that will bring the development that we are all looking for. Because our belief is that all over the world now, everybody is looking for measures and coming together to improve the life of their citizens. So we believe that is the very thing we need to do in Ghana.
So what I want to understand also is that, I mean, historically, Ghana has had divisions. Even Greater Accra was carved out of the eastern region, and the two northern regions were carved out of other regions. It's been like that over the years so that development can get closer to the people in small volumes. So is it your belief that the carving out of the OT region will deprive the rest of the Volta region development, or what? Hello, sir.
No, that is not what we are saying. We are saying that if Ghana wanted to develop the Volta region, it is not necessary to carve regions before they develop. We don't believe that when they carve any part of the Volta region, the development we are expecting will come. Take, for example, the Upper East and Upper West that was carved or was split for this very purpose. They are still being called the poorest regions in Ghana. So it is not the division or the carving that will bring about the development. So we are saying that it is not the case. But if we look at the local governance structures that are in place, that will bring more development than splitting the areas into various regions.
So you refer to it as divisions, but experts will say that it's actually not a division. It's just the creation of a new region out of an existing one because of the large size of geography, the large geographical size, so that this group, which is carved out, can equally have development, access to more development, and the previous region will have more development also. You may reference to the Upper West region, for example, but it's not fair to suggest that since the region was carved, it hasn't seen development. So let's get a better understanding of the stance, what really is the basis of your argument, because so far I've heard you say the division will not bring development, but what is the alternative for you?
No, how large is the region? You said the size of the region. How large is the Volta region? The Volta region is a small place. So we are saying that it is the disbursement of the national cake equity that will improve or bring about development in every area. But if we are not disbursing the national cake equitably, it will never bring the development. Volta region, historically, you can never split the region in the way we wanted to, because it has historical antecedents, and we are stressing on that fact that we think it is not in the interest of all of us for this region to be divided again, as it has happened in the past. So our view is that if we wanted something, the Constitution provides for measures or expansion or realignment of it. So we said that then they should realign the areas that they have taken from the Volta region to Eastern and Greater Accra, and then the Northern region and the upper regions. That will be a fair dealing with the people of the Volta region than to split the little that was left for us again. So we are sure, in addition to that it is not the division that will bring the development that we are.
Right. So let's look at the method you have used in order to bring attention to your position. You're using protest. Meanwhile, yes, the process of the creation is going to go through a series of consultations that have gone on already, and there will be the chance for people to vote in a referendum. So if you strongly feel that you have a solid point to make, why not subject yourself to the processes and go on and vote against it at the referendum? Why do you use protest?
Thank you for this question. Yes, this is one of the means. It's our democratic right to demonstrate. Two, we are hearing all kinds of things about the referendum. And if any region is going to be split or a region is going to be created out of an existing one, everything should be done in that region. But we are hearing that the referendum, for example, is going to be some areas of the region will be denying that fact. And it has already shown in the public hearing that has commenced, that they actually did only 1 in Ho and about 4 in the northern region, and they left out even the south. So it's just a clarion call to the authorities that the region is one. So anything that is done in the region will affect the whole region. So they should involve the whole region in the process, and I don't think this agitation will come up now.
Right, Mr. Simon Kofi Ohene, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Simon Kofi Ohene represents a group of young people in the Volta region who are against the creation of the OT region. I'm Stephen Anti. We have more news for you. You can stay tuned with us. Welcome back. Now, the central bank has announced as null and void the purported takeover of Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, by its counterpart local lender, Unibank Ghana Limited. The Bank of Ghana's position on the matter was announced by the governor, Dr. Ernest Addison. Here's a report by Nguong Falong.
In an unexpected move that could be the beginning of a restructuring of the local banking space, a consortium of financial institutions that control majority shares in agric-focused bank, Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, have pledged their shares, proceeds, entitlement and voting rights to Unibank, a leading local bank. The consortium is led by Bellstar Capital, Turnkey Project Finance and Implementation Institution. However, the Bank of Ghana, in reaction, has denounced the purported takeover as null and void. The Bank of Ghana's position on the matter was announced by the governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, at the commissioning of the new EcoBank offices in Accra. The Bank of Ghana is confident in its stance as a regulator.
I should at this point respond to some of the news developing this morning, just to clarify that the Bank of Ghana has not given approval to the purported takeover or through the pledging of shares of the Agricultural Development Bank to Unibank.
The executive director of Unibank, Clifford Metal, clarified that the development does not constitute an outright takeover, and Unibank is focusing on engagements with ADB as an independent entity.
As it is now, there is no major change or major takeover, as in moving and changing signboards and changing logos and changing ADBs or renaming ADB as Unibank. And so, no, not at all. There's nothing of that nature. It's purely a transfer or a pledge of some stakeholdings that the Bellstar Group had in ADB, which has been given to Unibank. As far as this arrangement is concerned, we are not looking at that. You know, we are looking at ADB as a standalone institution and focus on the way they operate, what sort of holdings they have, and so forth and so on. And that's what we are focusing on. As far as we are concerned, the ADB and IB merger issue with government is a separate issue.
And as you heard, the ADB has denied media reports that Unibank has taken over its operation. Media reports on Wednesday stated that the 4 shareholders of ADB, comprising Bellstar Capital, Star Mount Development Company, EDC, as well as SIC Financial Services Limited, have pledged their shares, proceeds, entitlement and voting rights to Unibank, giving it the power to take over the bank. But in a press release signed by the chairman of the bank and copied to TV3, ADB debunked the publication, adding that a pledge by the shareholders does not give Unibank the power to take over ADB. It is the opinion of ADB that a pledge does not have the effect of transfer of ownership. And to other stories, the minority side in Parliament has written to the Governor of the Bank of Ghana and the Finance Minister requesting for information on some technical details relating to Capital and UT Bank's takeover by GCB Bank. GCB Bank took over the two banks in 2017 with the permission of the Bank of Ghana because they were unable to increase the capital requirements needed for their operations. The minority, in its letter, made three demands, including being furnished with a purchase and assumption transaction document to update themselves on the issues that warranted the takeover. Minority spokesperson on finance, Keso Atuforsin, said the group is only seeking further clarity on the transaction. Atuforsin complained that as representatives of the people of Ghana, they don't seem to have any information about it. The other two technical assets the minority members are demanding clarity on include the cut-off rules as enshrined in the Public Financial Management Act and the Financial Administration Regulation, as clarity on a supposed 7 billion outstanding arrears, which they said had been adjusted. And President Akufo-Addo has reviewed his commitment to ensure that compromises are made by both sides to resolve the ongoing political tension in Togo. He made the observation during discussions at the Flagstaff House here in Accra with a 14-man opposition party group from Togo.
This is the third round of discussions and mediation efforts with the 14 aggrieved political parties from Togo. The representatives of the 14 political parties are demanding that current President Faure Gnassingbé steps down. The situation has triggered series of demonstrations and unrest in the country. During talks with the opposition parties at the Flagstaff House, President Akufo-Addo, the main mediator, renewed his commitment to endeavor to resolve the problem. He assured members of the delegation of continuous dialogue to resolve the impasse.
To the resolution of the crisis in Togo. It is in our interest to see on our eastern border a stable Togo which goes about its business in a normal way and which allows the democratic values and life that all of us are committed to in our part of the world today to flourish.
President Akufo-Addo expressed concern about the protracted tensions and called for compromises to be made between the current president and the political parties.
That is, on the basis of that, we will continue to talk and make concessions and compromises that have to be made, not just by you, but your principal adversary, in quotes, the government in Togo, so that the peace, the freedom and the security of the Togolese people are attained.
The delegation from Togo praised President Akufo-Addo for his determination to resolve the impasse in Togo.
An anti-graft campaigners, the Ghana Integrity Initiative, is expressing concern over the failure of the Ghana 60 Committee to render accounts 1 year after organizing Ghana's Diamond Jubilee celebrations. Executive Director Linda Ofori-Kwafo says government must ensure the Commission immediately renders account, or civil society will be compelled to wage an intense campaign to get the committee to account for every cedi received from the public.
On January 26, 2017, President Akufo-Addo put together a 30-member committee to organize Ghana's Diamond Jubilee celebrations. The president noted the celebrations would be a modest one, taking into account the country's financial constraints.
All of us are in agreement that the financial and economic circumstances of our country are not what we would all like it to be. The celebration of our 60th anniversary should be modest.
Members of the Kenamankwa-led committee resolved to forfeit their allowances following concerns the celebration will burden the public purse. The Ghana 60 committee budgeted to raise 20 million Ghana cedis for the year-long celebrations and publicly solicited for funds from corporate Ghana. But 12 months down the line, the committee is yet to publicly account for donations it received. Anti-corruption campaigners, the Ghana Integrity Initiative, say the Ghana Amnesty Commission's failure to render accounts to Ghanaians is deeply troubling.
I am not very happy. Maybe we have not demanded accountability enough, but we don't have to demand. We are a country that promotes transparency and accountability. We signed on to Open Governance Partnership, and so it's a requirement that you should be forthright to the people and give information when it is needed. I'm sure we should make some more demands on the committee.
Executive Director of GII, Linda Forikwafu, insists the inability of the Ghana Amnesty Committee to render account raises key questions regarding the transparency of the committee's work.
There's the need to join in any kind of campaign that will get the committee chair, the person of Mr. Kenamankwa, to help us. 1 year is a bit too long.
All attempts to get reaction from Ghana Amnesty Committee proved unsuccessful.
The Director General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Emmanuel Kofinti, warns companies which have defaulted in their tax compliance to take advantage of the Tax Amnesty Act and regularize their tax affairs. The tax amnesty is available from now till September 30.
The Tax Amnesty Act 2017 at 955, passed by Parliament in December 2017, is aimed at facilitating the regularization of the tax affairs of persons and companies who have defaulted in meeting their tax obligations. The tax amnesty is expected to rake in some additional revenue between 300 and 500 million cedis. Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Emmanuel Kofinti, said the move is expected to improve tax compliance and broaden the tax net.
For us at the GRA, we believe that if we do very good enforcement of these measures, it should lead us to be able to achieve our target.
He, however, indicated that the amnesty does not apply to persons or companies who are already under audit or investigation by the GRA. According to him, companies that fail to take advantage of the amnesty will face the full rigors of the law and face prosecution.
I wish to say that as a compliance measure, this is the last time GRA, and for that matter, government is offering a tax amnesty for defaulting businesses and persons. I therefore call on all persons, any income, who have defaulted in the submission of their tax returns and payments, or who have not previously registered with GRA, to take advantage of the amnesty, come clean and regularize their tax affairs. Let me emphasize, and please note, that GRA has the capacity to identify all potential taxpayers. I wish to say that being outside the radar is not an option, because GRA will vigorously pursue all tax defaulters, including prosecuting them after the expiration of the amnesty period, that is 30th September 28.
Companies can apply for the tax amnesty by obtaining an application form from any office of the GRA in the country.
And that's how we wrap up with News at 10. Thank you very much for your time. On behalf of the crew, good night, and there is more news at 3news.com. Enjoy the rest of our programs.